Hello, who is this?
This is Michael with East West Properties. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. What's this about? Goodbye.
Today I'm going to be battling a pre-foreclosure seller AI chatbot. You've probably seen all kinds of cold call videos, all kinds of door knocking videos. It's likely that you haven't seen an AI chatbot like this before. So I've programmed this bot to be a specific avatar that I would normally come across in a foreclosure situation. This is a 70-year-old woman. Her husband has passed away. He was the breadwinner. She can no longer afford the bills or take care of the house, and she's coming up on her foreclosure sale next week. I've spoken to thousands of human beings about this topic, but I've never talked to an AI. Maybe it's smarter than a human being. So I'm going to go through this scenario, battle the bot. I may win, I may lose. If I lose, it'll be a good coaching moment. We'll go through that, figure out why it didn't go well, and then we'll try the call again and see if I can be successful. So the goal with this call is to actually set up an appointment to meet the seller in person. Let's give it a try.
Hello, who is this?
Hey, Margaret, this is Michael with East West Properties. How are you?
I'm doing all right. What's this about?
Well, I noticed that Wells Fargo, your lender, was giving you grief about your house over there on 123 Main Street, and I just wanted to reach out and see if there was anything I could do to help.
I'm not sure how you got this information, but I'm managing. What exactly are you offering?
Well, I've stopped hundreds of foreclosure sales over the years, and I just wanted to go through the 5 options that I have to get that stopped. Hopefully you have it done already, but maybe I can be a backup plan for you.
I see. And how exactly do you plan to stop the foreclosure? I've heard a lot of promises before.
Yeah, I'm sure there's all kinds of people that you've been people that have reached out to you, people that you're not really sure if you can trust them. Completely get it. But I'm happy to walk through all these steps, answer all your questions, and hopefully just be a value add for you.
All right, I'm listening. But I'm skeptical. What are these steps you're talking about?
Yeah, so let's just go through these 5 options. Hopefully one of them resonates with you. Okay, the first one is called a reinstatement. That just means that you're bringing the loan current. Any amount that you're behind, you're sending that to the foreclosure attorney. And at that point, the sale would be stopped and all would be well. I know I'm a stranger off the street, but give or take, do you know how far you are behind at the moment?
I'm not comfortable sharing specific numbers with someone I've just met over the phone. Why do you need to know this?
Well, it just helps us paint a picture of the whole situation, and it helps me give advice on what option might work for you. That's the only reason I'm asking.
I understand you're trying to help, but I'm really wary of giving out personal financial information like that.
Completely get it.
Let's just say it's been a tough few months.
Okay, so let's just say you're a few months behind. I mean, would it be safe to say that you probably don't have that amount to reinstate?
That would be a safe assumption, yes.
Okay. Have you spoken to a family or friend about this topic? I know that's kind of hard to, air your dirty laundry to your family, but maybe they could be of assistance to you. Have you spoken to them yet?
I've had a few conversations, but it's a difficult subject.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm not sure they're in a position to help much.
Yeah, I completely get it. With the economy how it is, it's not like a lot of people just have a bunch of money laying around. Well, let's just go ahead and move on from that option. It sounds like it's not really working. Option 2 is a loan modification. Have you spoken to Wells Fargo about that option?
I've heard of it, but I haven't gone down that route yet. I'm a bit skeptical about those things. How does it even work?
Well, you would call up loss mitigation at Wells Fargo, kind of explain your situation to them, let them know, hey, my husband has passed away, I've been going through some financial difficulty, I just really need some time and some options to get back on my feet. And they would send you out a package of paperwork. You would fill that out, and hopefully they would approve you for that loan modification. And then if they approved you, that would then stop the sale.
I see. But with my credit history taking a hit recently, I'm not sure if they'd even consider me for a modification. Plus, the paperwork and process sound overwhelming right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot, and if your credit is low, they may deny you, so that could be true. So that's an option. Look into it, but it sounds like maybe it's not overly likely. Let's move on to that third option. It's my least favorite option, but it's effective. It's a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Have you looked into that or researched it at all?
Bankruptcy, huh?
Yeah,
That's a pretty drastic step. I've thought about it, but it feels like giving up, and I'm not sure I'm there yet. Plus, the implications of that are pretty serious, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it would stay on your record for 7 years. What it does, though, is it buys you time. So if you filed and you believed that you could use one of these options that I'm talking to you about, then perhaps it's a good option. But like I said, it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on an infected wound. I don't really like it, but it's kind of a Hail Mary approach at the last second.
I appreciate the information, but I'm not sure I'm ready to consider bankruptcy just yet.
Sure.
It's a big decision, and I need to think carefully about the long-term consequences.
Absolutely. Well, the fourth option, I'm sure a lot of people have talked to you about. It's a cash sale. I could offer you an amount of money that would pay off your note, get as much money in your pocket. But in that situation, I'm sure you've had a lot of people lowballing you. Has that been happening?
Yes, I've had a few offers, but they all seemed like they were trying to take advantage of my situation. I'm looking for a fair deal, not just to give my house away.
Oh, completely get it. I mean, the average investor is going to come in here. They're only going to talk about your house. They're only going to talk about giving you a low offer. Have any of the other guys actually sat you down, gone through options like this?
No, not really. Most just throw a number at me and expect me to jump at it without much discussion about other possibilities.
Right. So I know it sounds kind of cheesy. I'm sure a lot of people have said something like this, but I truly care about my clients. I actually went through foreclosure back in 2014. I've felt that fear of not being able to come up with the money, so I can completely relate, and that's why I do this partially. So I know you said you've been lowballed, but I mean, is a cash sale kind of what you would like to do? Would you like to sell if you could get the right number and perhaps have us help you get to the next house?
I really don't have time for this. Just remove me from this list. Goodbye.
Okay, so I'm not really sure why she cut me off right there. I thought we were having a good conversation, but perhaps she kind of felt like the conversation was going too slow. I probably could have pushed through that cash sale option quicker, but I was kind of wanting to differentiate myself from the other investors in terms of lowballing and stuff like that. But maybe she just felt like I was wasting her time and she was just a little bit overwhelmed. So I'm going to try this call again. For brevity of the video, we're going to skip forward until I get to the cash sale option. We'll see if I can get any further this time.
5 minutes later.
Fourth option is a cash sale. I could give you a cash offer that would pay off the note, and hopefully we would have a pretty large amount on top of that, and that could help you in terms of your next housing accommodations, moving, maybe some capital just to breathe a little bit. Had you even considered selling? I mean, what was your ideal, realistic outcome?
Selling has crossed my mind, yes, but I'm wary of cash offers. I've heard they can be lowball offers that take advantage of people in tough situations. How do I know your offer would be fair?
Well, if you check out our Google reviews, you'll see 100 other different people that we've helped out of this situation, and that might give you a little bit more peace. But tell me a little bit about some of your other interactions with other investors. How did that go?
I've had a few calls, but nothing felt right. They were either too pushy or the numbers just didn't add up. It's hard to trust strangers with something as important as your home, you know? Plus, with everything going on, it's been a bit overwhelming trying to figure out who's genuinely trying to help and who's just looking to make a quick buck off my situation.
Yeah, completely get it. I mean, I am an investor. I do want to make money, but I do want you to win. I want this to be a win-win for you. So are you looking to sell, net some money, and then what would be your next step? Do you want to buy another house? Do you want to rent? What does that look like in your head?
I'm considering selling, yes. But as for what's next, I'm not entirely sure. I need to find something affordable, maybe rent for a while until things stabilize. It's all a bit up in the air right now.
Yeah, completely get it. And the good thing is I have a whole team behind me that helps people in this situation all the time, and we can help you find a new rental. We can help you move. We kind of like to see ourselves as a turnkey option to help people from A to Z. So it's not just a cash offer. So that's the cash offer. Would you like to hear that fifth option?
Sure, let's hear the fifth option. But just so you know, I'm still very cautious about all this.
As you should be. We can go through this. You can ask me as many questions as you want until you feel comfortable. Completely okay. So that fifth option is called subject to. Basically, it's a fancy way of saying that I could bring your loan current, the loan would stay in your name, and potentially you could stay in the house as a long-term tenant. I know it sounds complicated, but it really helps provide flexibility in these situations where we don't have a lot of time.
Subject to? That does sound complicated. And the loan stays in my name? I'm not sure how I feel about that. It seems like there could be a lot of risks involved with that arrangement.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions that you could ask. What are some of the concerns that you have? Maybe I could address those for you.
Well, for starters, if the loan stays in my name, what happens if there's an issue with payments down the line? And how does this affect my credit? Plus, staying as a tenant in my own home feels a bit odd. How does this arrangement usually work out for homeowners?
Yeah, perfect question about if I were to default. Let's say that I got abducted by aliens or I happened to pass away and I didn't make payments. That's actually the best thing that could happen for you because I've reinstated the loan. Maybe I've been paying all the loan or the mortgage statement over and over and over every month. There's debt pay down. Hopefully the house is appreciated over time. And let's say all of that didn't happen. I didn't make the payment. Well, what would happen is it would be deeded back to you, and then you would have the house back in a situation, in a much better financial situation. You really can't lose.
That's an interesting take, but it still feels risky.
Sure, completely get it. So here's the 5 different options I have. Completely understand that you're a little nervous. You have a lot of people calling you and saying different things. What are the things that you're most concerned about? What can I help with?
Hey, look, I really don't have time for this. I'm serious. Just remove me from this list. Good.
So we got a little bit further that time. I don't think I pursued that subject to well enough on that time. I could have kept going in on that pain or tried to go ahead and set up the appointment. Again, it seems like the bot doesn't like it if you delay it all. It kind of wants to see some sort of progression. So we're going to try again. I'm going to get to the subject to part, and then we'll chime back, or we'll start the video again. Hopefully this time I can get through the bot. Conversations with humans aren't really like this. When you get that far into the conversation, they don't normally shut you down. But what this does is it kind of keeps you in check in terms of keeping the flow of the conversation solid. So it's just good practice. So I'm going to go through the call again, and we will start over when I get to the subject to part.
A few moments later.
Basically, subject to is just a fancy way of saying that I could bring the loan current, I would reinstate it, the loan would stay in your name, and perhaps if we could feel like it was a mutually beneficial agreement, you could stay in the house long term with the option to buy it back.
So you're saying you would bring the loan current and allow me to stay in the house with the option to buy it back? That sounds intriguing. How does that benefit you?
Well, it's a long-term investment for me. You know, rushing and real estate don't go well together. So the good thing about subject to is it gives us some time to breathe, really think about what the best outcome is. And perhaps after we buy it subject to, we could partner on a flip afterwards, or you could stay on as a long-term tenant. It just provides flexibility and peace of mind for you.
Flexibility and peace of mind do sound appealing, especially given my current situation. But partnering on a flip, I'm not sure I have the resources or the energy for that. How exactly would that work?
So basically, after we bought the house subject to, if we decided to flip it together, I would bring all the resources for the flipping. I would manage the project. You wouldn't have to do anything. And then at the conclusion, we would sell it at the market for full value of which you were concerned about. You wanted to get the top amount for your house. Then after it's sold, we would provide you a document that showed all of our expenses, would show the profit, and we would have a pre-agreed upon percentage of how we would split that deal, and then we would issue a check. It's that simple.
That does sound like a comprehensive plan, but I'll need to think it over.
Absolutely.
It's a lot to take in, especially with everything else going on. Can you send me some more information about this and maybe some references or examples of past projects you've done?
Yes, I'm happy to send you references and different people that we've worked with in the past to your email. But that sale is a week away. And the last thing I want to do is rush you into an appointment, but I also don't want us to have a 911 situation right at the end where we're rushing around and trying to figure things out at the last second. Would you be open to meeting at the house, talking it through? Again, there's no obligation. I just want to help, but I want there to be plenty of time.
I appreciate the offer, but I'm not ready to commit to a meeting just yet. Send me the information and references first. Let me have a look at those, and then we can decide on a meeting if it seems like a good fit. How does that sound?
Oh, that sounds fair. I will go ahead and send those things you requested in your email. What's a good email for me to send that to?
You can send it to Margaret Thompson at email.com. Thank you for understanding. Goodbye.
So that was a little bit closer. I would have liked to get that appointment set up. She was still a little bit skeptical, but in a real life scenario, that may happen. I'll send that over, and I would have gotten a next commitment. So I would have sent that over and said, hey, when would be a good time to discuss those referrals and reviews that she asked for? Then they would have said, I'll read those tonight. I'll connect with you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. So while the bot asks really good questions and keeps a good conversation going, it's also a little bit unrealistic to get to that point at the end where we've built up some rapport, built a little bit of trust because the other investors didn't do as good of a job caring about her. She wouldn't just really hang up at that point. So I'm actually pretty happy with how that went. A normal seller, after doing this thousands of times, would have agreed to an in-person appointment. Now, perhaps I could have done things a little bit differently with Margaret to get an in-person appointment, but we made a lot of headway from being hung up on twice to, hey, she's at least willing to look at information and take a next step. And that's really what our goal is with Niche, is to build up rapport, provide a lot of value, care about the seller, and then get a micro commitment, whether that be a phone number, an email, which Margaret provided me, or an in-person appointment. So am I a little bit disappointed that we didn't get an in-person appointment? Yeah, I am. But we made a lot of progress in our handful of calls here, making just a few little small adjustments, and we got a piece of contact, and she was willing to take a next step. So that's always a win. Then we start the follow-up game. So hopefully this has been encouraging to you. Hopefully you realize that there's technology out there now to where you can practice these conversations. I know one of the biggest questions I get is, how do I talk to these sellers? What is the script? Well, now there's technology out there that you can actually practice these conversations over and over and over, and you can actually plug in different scenarios and practice different situations. So if this type of training is valuable to you, if you would like to be able to use tools like this, comment AI down in the comments, and maybe, just maybe down the road, I can create a solution to where you can use this software. So down in the comments, comment your biggest takeaway. Would you like a product that you could train with like this? Or simply what stood out about the script that I used and the conversation path? I'd love your feedback. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.